Hello everybody and welcome back once more to Anime Yay or Nay. I am TheOutbackAl.
I'm Yin&Jung.
I'm Chibi Noob.
And I'm NV Jitters.
And we're back with more stuff that's more or less anime. What were we calling it? Basically anime? That's basically it. This time we had Jackie Chan Adventures, which is pretty anime for the most part, but also very Hong Kong action movie, which is basically anime. So, yeah, I'm gonna assume everyone had seen this already, but I will go around. Who hasn't?
Nope, never saw it.
I never saw it.
Really? Wow, okay.
Just us today.
Yep.
I think I watched this not during its Kids WB run, but I think I saw it during its Cartoon Network run.
I remember it on its Kids WB run, because I was always like, oh, this is one of the really good shows that was on there. So I guess we can ask what were the initial impressions and thoughts from everybody?
I thought it was fun, it had lots of references to his classic moves and stuff that you see him do in the movies. I thought the characters were fun enough, like the little side characters, like the uncle and the kid. I thought the stories themselves were enjoyable enough. I was surprised to see that Jackie Chan was not voicing Jackie Chan. That was a little disappointing, not gonna lie. But yeah, I'd say I enjoyed it. The animation's kind of wonky though. Like the children, they look like they have adult heads on just tiny bodies. And it's like really weird to me. But I enjoyed it overall.
I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. Like, it honestly, I never watched these back in the day, but I've heard about them, like, back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, when, like, almost every random celebrity had a cartoon, like Mr. T and all that kind of stuff, and it kind of felt like a era of that, and you could tell they probably didn't have the biggest budget to work with. They probably used most of their money, to get Jackie Chan back into it. So, but other than that, I was impressed. Like, I thought, the way that, they paid tribute to his movies by him having his kung fu, while impressive, very practical and humorous at times too, because that was a big staple of his kung fu movies. Like, Bruce Lee was like the straightforward, fighter, whereas Jackie Chan was basically, I'm going to use this random inanimate object as a weapon and just improvise. And they kind of did that with the show, but in a kid-friendly way. So I was very impressed with that.
I'm gonna talk a little bit more about it later, but the idea that Jackie Chan improvises is not a thing. I will tell you that right now. He will do a take 300 times to get it just right. There is no.
I guess
we're
the
gonna be willy-nilly.
Improvises.
I
guess it kind of looks like that.
All right.
I think, like, in the context of the scene, it's improvising.
Yeah, the character.
Yeah. Because I forget what movie it is, but I saw the clip online where he fights like a bunch of guys in a room with a ladder, like a giant 10-foot ladder, and he fought like 30 guys in a room at once. I forget what movie it is, but yeah.
God, I'm trying to think of like it's like you're going through and you're trying to think of like some of your favorite stuff. I actually am a real big fan of Rumble in the Bronx, where he uses refrigerators in one scene to beat everybody up.
Oh, okay. Police Story 4. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, one of the scenes in here actually feels like it was one from one of his early films, but on the playground a little bit. I think they did a little bit more in the movie, but it was a nice little nod there.
I do have to ask, though, since this show originally aired in September of 2000 when the first episode came out, do you think it was mainly due to his popularity in America from Rush Hour, or do you think they planned this for a while just because of how popular he was over in China?
I mean, he was an executive producer on this, so he was involved in it no matter what. But he had already kind of gotten a following over here over the years. I mean, Rush Hour definitely got him a little bit more of like the mainstream audience a little bit, but he had a very long following over in America because he was at the height of the kung fu craze in the 70s. Along with Bruce Lee and some other, a number of other actors who were, I don't want to like make this whole thing of just about like Jackie Chan's film history and then like all the kung fu film history and like, the low budget theaters that would like run and get cult followings of a whole bunch of different stuff.
But it's part of it.
It is, but yeah, I feel like it's a much larger conversation for something else, but...
So, question, did he choreograph his early stuff, or did the directors?
It's kind of a combination of things, but mostly, and I'll tell you this, a great example is the Drunken Master series. The first Drunken Master is one of his early works. He was kind of being set up, sort of groomed to be the next Bruce Lee. So a lot of his early roles are Bruce Lee roles, played by Jackie Chan. And that's kind of early on in his career when, like, the directors and the producers were all kind of like, here's how we want you to be, and here's what you need to do. And then as he got more notoriety, he made a bigger name for himself, and he got just better skilled at performing and that kind of thing, he started taking over a little bit and being like, no, this is going to work better if I do this, if I work like this, and he developed far more of his own style as it keeps going. So Drunken Master has the far more traditional, like, this is what the Kung Fu movie is kind of style. And then Drunken Master 2, which came out years and years later, is what you think of when you think of a Jackie Chan movie, with a lot more comedy, a lot more slapstick, and a lot of his more signature style of action. So that's a good way to go with it. Which I think he kind of started to develop a lot more in, like, the 80s and 90s. And then you come over to Rush Hour and all that other sort of stuff. And, like, I'm going to say this, and this is just an opinion, but, like, you got to watch his Hong Kong stuff because they don't cut. Everything that's happening. You can, if you watch a movie and you watch how it's edited and that, you can be like, okay, here's where they cut, like, because people don't know how to fight. And he's always like, no, I want nice wide shots that show everything because I can actually do this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, there's that one famous scene. I forget what movie. I saw the clip where he jumped down the lights in the mall and he literally burned
Rumble in the Bronx.
Doing so.
Love that movie.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, he originally, like, wasn't he, like, working sort of as a stunt double in some of Lee's movies?
That's how some people come up through that. So
yeah,
he was not allowed to do that shot, by the way. The producers told him, no, there's a chance that you're going to get hurt and the whole production's going to, like, shut down. And he's just like, okay, roll the camera, I'll do something else. And then he jumped down it. Burned up his whole back and everything. And he was like, but did it look good? He, like, broke his leg on that movie, put a cast on, put a sleeve over the cast so it looked like his pant leg in a shoe, and kept going.
Wow.
No, the man is committed beyond belief.
Yeah, I mean, I find that a lot of actors are sort of like that. Like, despite the fact that they will get hurt doing certain things, they're in it for, like, the art of doing it.
Yeah.
Sort of like Leo DiCaprio in that one movie. Oh god, I forget the title.
What was it about? I might know it.
Oh, it's the Quentin Tarantino one, where he broke the glass.
Oh, and he just kept going?
The glass on his hand, or whatever. You're
thinking of Django Unchained. That's kind of a small thing. Good on him for staying in the moment, but, like, Jackie Chan has a whole team that he works with, and he will not work with other stunt teams because they do not know his rhythm.
Yeah.
And which actually does cause some small funny moments, because you'll see sometimes when he's fighting someone, he'll fight a white guy who will, in the last second, turn into an Asian dude as the actual stunt is happening. No, you could find it if you go looking for it. It's really fun. But yeah, he can't, because he's like, I need people who understand my rhythm, because to him it's
like a dance, right?
Yes, exactly.
He needs the right partner.
Yeah, and if he doesn't have that, you're out. He's going to find someone else who can do it. And he's famously, like, done certain things that, like, there was a move where he like had to throw a fan that had to come back to him, and something else with, like, a wooden clog where he had to kick it up into the air and then kick it into somebody's face. Both of those shots, they're maybe a half second long in the movie itself. It took him days to do it because he was just, like, over and over and over because he just couldn't get it right, and then he gets it right and it's only in half a second of the movie. But I'm going to be real with you. Those shots have impact because they're really good. I don't mean to just gush about Jackie Chan, but I'm a fan.
Yeah. I found it funny in the theme song and stuff when you just randomly saw Jackie Chan.
Oh, yeah.
Like the live action. Then he did the little bits at the end where he just talks about he loves cartoons and stuff.
That's kind of like, Envy, you were saying about how, like, they used to have celebrity endorsed cartoons that were just, like, about them or something like that. That's kind of a holdover from, like, the 80s and 90s. Like, the famous one is G.I. Joe, with the PSAs at the end.
Yeah.
That they had to put in because it's a violent show, and they're like, well, we have to teach kids something, otherwise we're going to get canceled. So...
Well, I'm just thinking more of, like, you know, the, like, random... like, obvious... Like, Jackie Chan kind of makes sense for having, when you think about it, you know, he's such a larger-than-life persona, but, like random actors or actresses getting their own cartoon or something like that. So, like, just, you know, just, like, who would you think? Or something like that.
Yeah, like, but you had those back in the 80s when they were larger than life and stuff like that. You don't see it as much nowadays unless it's sort of a joke. I'm thinking, the most recent one I can think of is Mike Tyson Mysteries, which is far more of a goofy, like, yeah, this is fucking stupid and we're aware of it kind of thing, as opposed to taking it seriously. But I do love how they animated Jackie in all of this, because, like, he is almost a cartoon character in a lot of his movies. He is Bugs Bunny, or, like, I actually think he's a lot more like Buster Keaton back in the silent era, because of he's actually an amazing visual storyteller. But yeah, I like how they, like, get all of his very expressive expressions when things are going wrong, and this and that, and the action itself, yeah, it feels absolutely like any one of his movies. Like, okay, as ridiculous as this gets, and it could get very ridiculous because it's a cartoon, I'm still like, no, I could see real Jackie Chan doing that and putting that in a movie.
Yeah.
Any day of the week. And I love it.
Well, I mean, that whole, you were mentioning it earlier, but, like, that whole fight scene in the park in the first episode, like, I could totally picture the real Jackie Chan doing a scene just like that.
I will send you the scene, because it exists. And it's amazing. But we should talk a little bit about plot, because as insane as it is, this is probably one of the most out there Jackie Chan plots, weirdly enough. So he's essentially Indiana Jones in this.
Yeah.
He's an archaeologist who owns an antique shop, which I guess they mention he's also working for a university in that. But
Yeah,
like, he doesn't sell
like
the stuff he finds, right?
he
like
does.
an archaeologist.
Yeah, Uncle does sell some stuff that he finds, I
If
think.
you're supposed to do that.
I feel like it's probably iffy with international laws at this point, but you know what? It's a kid's show. We'll let it slide, I guess.
I mean, was what Indiana Jones did in the movies illegal, even if he did give it to a museum?
Here's the thing. He was fighting Nazis in the majority of those, so you're allowed to do whatever.
True.
Okay, but
as long as you take down the Nazis, it's all okay.
It was to
It's
make
fair
sure the
game.
Nazis didn't get it. It's fine. And I think I didn't watch the most recent one. I didn't want to. I feel like anytime he's not fighting Nazis, he usually just gives it back to whoever actually owns it. Like Temple of Doom, he gives the Sunstones back to the people who were supposed to have them. And well, we don't need to talk about Crystal Skull, but Crystal Skull, yeah, he didn't walk away with anything.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I was gonna say Crystal Skull kind of went back to the aliens.
Yeah.
But also it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, as someone who's like, these relics are like important to certain groups of people, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, we're going to give the message that, like, hey, these don't belong in a museum, these belong to the people that they are for.
It seems to be all the things that stay in the museum or are put away and looked at by top men are like all Christian artifacts. And mostly Christian artifacts that are being coveted by Nazis. So again, as long as you're stealing artifacts from Nazis, it's okay.
True.
Yeah, he does give the Dial of Destiny back to its owner. That's all I'll say.
Okay, there you go.
But anyway, moving on to this show.
Yeah, he's an archaeologist. He's finding some stuff. He has an uncle who owns a shop. He's got a niece who is just being dropped on him at random, as you do. Honestly, that was a trope for a lot of 90s movies as well. Just pair up somebody with a kid.
I do have a question, though, and maybe I'm being confused about, you know, familiar relationships. If he's the nephew of the old man, wouldn't that also make her like his great? Like would they be cousins instead of niece and nephew?
So that would make him her great uncle.
Yeah.
A lot of times, I'm going to be honest, I call my great uncles and aunts just aunt or uncle because my parents call them that.
I think they do explain it. First off, uncle is everybody's uncle. So that's just a thing. But I think he is actually Jackie's uncle. I think Jade's parents are his cousin. So technically he's a second cousin. I do remember them mentioning that. They call him uncle. It's like, wait, is uncle everybody's uncle? Technically he's our cousin. But we call him uncle. So he's everyone. He's just uncle.
Okay.
But yeah. And then there's a secret spy agency that wants his help to take down a organized crime syndicate trying to steal ancient artifacts with possible mystical powers.
Yep.
Weirdly enough, I feel like this was a plot in at least 2 of his movies.
Sounds about right.
Because I'm thinking of Rush Hour 2, where they were stealing artifacts from China. I'm thinking of The Medallion, which involved a child with magic powers and he's resurrected. I'm thinking, I don't know why, the spy thing is making me think of The Tuxedo. If anyone saw that one, early 2000s, Jackie Chan stuff.
I saw it in the video store. I never rented it.
It's Jackie Chan. I mean, what do you want? But yeah, but never before do you get to see all of them all at once, all here, having a good time. And yeah, every episode he's going to be like finding a new. They're right now they're looking for talismans that have magical powers that give you superpowers, and they're trying to keep him away from honestly what gives me like Big Trouble in Little China statue vibes.
Oh yes,
yeah,
Shendu.
Yeah, you guys ever see Big Trouble in Little China?
Nope.
It's on the list.
I might have, but maybe a long, long time ago.
I feel like we might have been channel surfing and I showed you the end of it.
Yeah.
Anywho. Yeah. So, magic, monsters, bad guys, world traveling around the world,
Sounds
and
like a Kung Fu movie.
I mean, it is a Kung Fu movie. It's a Kung Fu movie every week. I think that's why I like the show so much. I was actually like looking at the episode list because I was looking at the first season. It's only 13 episodes. I'm like, I remember this running way longer than that. There's no way they only had 5 seasons. Season 2 is 39 episodes.
They basically packed 3 seasons into one.
I mean, if there was ever a time to do it, that's when stuff really starts going at that point. And I think they evened out into some more normal-sized seasons in the later years. But still, I remember watching this pretty consistently all the way through the stuff with the demons and even with the Shadow Ninja things and that. So I remember James Hong showed up as the main villain for, I want to say season 3, but I might be wrong. It's hard to, because you have 3 seasons packed entirely into seasons 2. It's like, okay, where do things delineate arc-wise?
Daolon Wong, I think, might have been the villain for that season.
Which season?
Season 3.
That's season 4, actually.
Oh, I think he was introduced in season 3 then.
No, yeah, you're right. Season 3, and then the mask that supplanted him was season 4. That's the ShadowCon stuff. Mm-hmm. What was season 5? I might have been out of it at that point.
Season 5?
Oh, that's when the dragon son shows up.
Oh,
that was a weird one.
Was that when the cheese stuff started happening?
I mean, cheese stuff has been going the entire time. We haven't really gotten to it.
I just remember it being like way more of a thing after a certain point.
Yeah, it becomes a bigger thing in season 2 whenever this first evil plot fails and they try something else. Okay. So they have to come up with better methods of dealing with ancient magic. Yeah. Uncle magic.
Uncle! I love Uncle.
You know what this is actually reminding me of a little bit? 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo.
Little bit. So.
You got 12 magic items that you got to go around the world and find. Mm-hmm. You got your protagonist who's always getting in trouble but doesn't want to be in trouble. You got your short round character. You got Uncle's eventually going to be like the mystical person. Mm-hmm. And a couple other like characters who just bounce in and out to add to the team a little bit. Yeah, it works.
They called it Section 13. It reminded me vaguely of Warehouse 13, which was like a sci-fi show that was about like a warehouse full of like supernatural artifacts. And I was like, oh no, Why are we here?
I remember that.
Is that where they put the Ark of the Covenant that Indiana Jones found?
Maybe.
I think that's always a thing. Like, I'm also remembering Helsing was, like, Division 13 of, like, the Vatican or something. Like, they always, like, anytime, if it has anything to do with, like, magic items or something, it's like, you're gonna be Organization 13, something 13, blah, blah, blah. Trece.
I think because the number 13 had, like, associations with the supernatural in a certain point.
Of course, you just...
In history.
Sometimes you expect people to be a little more creative.
Nah. People just like it.
Yeah. How about Mr. Krabs being the Nick Fury person?
I know! I heard his voice and I'm like,
I mean,
hello, sir!
I know it's Clancy Brown, but I feel like his voice was him being Lex Luthor from Superman.
It was.
Justice League.
Absolutely.
So,
I was more reminded of, oh god, what is his name from Detroit Become Human?
I didn't play that one yet.
Hank.
I know you're
Is that his
talking
name?
Yes, Hank. Like, I was reminded more of that intonation, just because of, like, I don't know, like, the tone. Maybe it was just me.
I mean, if we're talking about the voice cast, granted, I haven't seen Jackie Chan in a lot of movies, but I feel like James C.A. or C, the guy who voices him, I thought he did a pretty good job impersonating him.
He's actually sort of, quote-unquote, the Jackie Chan impersonator, according to his wiki page. And apparently, Stacey Chan, who is Jackie's niece, plays his niece, Jade.
Well, there you go. Works perfectly.
Yeah, because I looked up her filmography. Basically, Jackie Chan Adventures is her only real credited stuff. She had like a few guest appearances, but otherwise, that's pretty much it.
Come on now, she was on Fillmore, and What's New Scooby-Doo?
For one episode each.
Okay, fine. Still. You guys didn't get to see her yet, but the next episode involves their Catwoman character, Viper, who I just know her as Wonder Woman from Justice League. But, yeah.
Oh, Susan Eisenberg?
Yeah. Oh my god. Adam Baldwin from Firefly is in this. Wait, which one was he? Did we see him in this? Finn? Why am I blanking? Who is Finn?
Apparently John DiMaggio plays a character.
Yeah, he's a dude. He's like... Okay, I don't want to spoil for anybody too much, but... Because it happens kind of early on. You know Toru, the big sumo wrestler dude?
Yes.
Yeah.
He, I think, is going to get betrayed by the bad guys, and he joins Jackie Chan's team.
Oh no, I remember that very clearly.
Well, I know there's two people who haven't seen it.
I adored that.
He's kind of fantastic once he switches sides.
He is amazing.
Because I think, right now, he does not have a personality at all. He's just a big, scary guy. But then, like... He works at the shop with Uncle, and he's just a sweetheart.
He's so sweet. He's basically just like, he's the sumo wrestler of their team.
Yeah. And like, eventually they give him some other stuff. He trains under Uncle, gets some magic powers, but mostly he's just kind of this like wonderful, lovable person. And I'm actually a little disappointed seeing him like this. I'm like, I know you're better than this, Toru. I'm a little sad to see you on the side of evil right now. And then... Yeah, John DiMaggio, his character essentially takes over for him as the big muscle dude. So...
Yeah. Isn't that character voiced by... he's voiced by Jim Cummings early on in, like, the first season.
Yeah, initially, but then John DiMaggio took over because Jim Cummings probably had, like, some other stuff going on.
He's Jim Cummings. Of course he does.
Trying to see if I like recognize a lot of other people from stuff. El Toro. Oh, speaking of Lex Luthor, that Drago, I don't know how the dragon had a kid. I forget how that was explained. That was also Lex Luthor from Smallville.
Okay.
Yeah. A pretty good group, pretty good cast.
Yeah.
I remember Jade being more annoying as a kid. She wasn't that bad this time around, it felt like. But maybe these episodes didn't show her a lot of her yet. And yet they did feel like they did.
I think maybe as this... as the seasons went and she got way more involved, she got more annoying, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I feel like in at least the first episode, I was just kind of like, child, why are you here? And why are you running away?
It was kind of weird because, like, it was a weird juxtaposition for me with her because on the one hand, she was getting on his nerves and she was disobeying his direct orders. But on the other hand, every time she did do that, she ended up helping him at the end. Like in the factory, using her weird medallion powers for the one episode, and then in episode 3, helping out with the airplane thing. So she did help just by not listening.
Yeah. That's kind of always how those characters are a little bit. Like,
yeah.
Who was 13 Ghost? Flim Flam?
Oh my god, yeah.
No one wanted Flim Flam around, but Flim Flam saved the day a bunch of times. Honestly, she really does give Flim Flam a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else to talk about. Like, I feel like this is a really good setup for the show, but it's not until you actually, like, really start watching it that it really gets crazy, because every episode after this is going to introduce a new magic power thing, and you're going to have to deal with however that's going to do stuff. Like...
Well, I just found it, like, I remember as a kid when I was first watching this that they started talking about the Chinese zodiac, and then they brought in all the animals, this was my first introduction to that. So, and I enjoyed that all the talismans are associated with specific animals in the zodiac and, like, all of their different powers. Because I'm trying to remember, wasn't the ox one for, like, strength or something? My brain's... Ugh.
I wanted to talk about that because some of these powers totally make sense, and some of them do not. Okay. So, the ox makes you strong. Yes. Totally makes sense. All right, there's a rabbit talisman. Anyone want to take a guess? Not you, Chibi, but anyone else want to take a guess what power the rabbit gives you?
I mean, I would say mostly for a kid show, I'd probably say agility, like running fast, hopping.
You're
like
right
that.
On the money there.
Very good.
Very good. Okay, let's think of another one that has a somewhat obvious power here. How about... Oh, now I'm trying to remember these. How about the dragon? What do you think the dragon does?
Makes you fly.
No.
Breathe fire.
No. Essentially, you can fire energy blasts out of it. Rooster. Telekinesis.
What?
How did we get there? That was the first episode.
Yeah.
Okay. Episode after this is going to be the snake. Makes you invisible.
Yep.
That one I can kind of see.
Yeah, because snakes can, like, sort of blend in with their surroundings, and, like, you can kind of mistake them for, like, vines.
Okay. So now when we get to the pig... Any guesses as to what it is? Go ahead. Say anything. Say anything. You're not going to get it.
I don't know. Something
Heat
stupid
vision.
Like...
It gives you laser eyes. There's literally a dude in one of these episodes. He's like, this thing can make him 50 feet tall and shoot lasers out of his eyes. I don't know that there's one that can make you 50 feet tall, but it can get you to shoot lasers out of your eyes.
Here's the thing, it's like heat vision, but what about meat vision? I was reminded so much of that episode from the Fairly Odd Parents.
Honestly, that's the better power.
Right?
I'm trying to think of the rest of these. Let's see here. Monkey makes you transform into other animals. The sheep allows you to astral project, which I guess I kind of get, counting sheep.
Yes, sleeping.
Kind of thing. The tiger splits you into your yin and yang versions of yourself. I'm missing people. The dog makes you essentially invulnerable to damage.
The rat can bring inanimate objects to life.
Yeah, I don't get that one at all. What was the horse?
Healing for any afflictions or injuries.
Okay. I guess one of them has to do that.
Grants immortality.
Yeah, like you don't get hit by anything.
Yeah.
Insanity.
Weird.
You know what? I'll say this. The dog does make sense because you're not allowed to hurt a dog on TV or anything. And if you do, someone better die. There better be a body count afterwards. And that's how we get a John Wick movie.
Well, I was just about to say, we have a modern action kung fu star whose movie started with his dog dying.
Yeah. You don't fuck with the dog, man. So they covered this stuff. which is all... The dragon statue is trying to get its body back because it's a giant dragon demon, and it's going to have all the powers of these things whenever it absorbs all of them.
Yeah. Like, that's just the overarching premise of that first season, is just the bad guys trying to get all the talismans so they can resurrect the dragon demon, and Jackie and his family just trying to, like, make sure that they don't get their hands on them.
Yeah.
Like, that is it.
And then... what's the next season? We have to stop portals with demons coming out of them.
Yeah, that was a thing.
And then... it's weird. Season 3 was kind of a redo of Season 1 now that I'm thinking about it. Because wasn't James Hong essentially, like, trying to, take the same powers?
I think so, yeah. Because the 12 talismans were being brought back. He was trying to use them... probably for himself. I see here in episode 2 that he was seeking the powers of the dog talisman at a dog show.
Yeah, because they were all, like, actual animals at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And then a demon mask came to life, and then there was a bunch of other demon masks that could all control different of these shadow ninjas.
Yeah.
And I don't remember Season 5. I might have stopped watching around Season 5. But that was the Dragon Kid. Right. I don't know. I'm going to have to rewatch the rest of the show, I think. I don't know about anyone else. Does anyone else have other things they'd like to talk about here?
I mean, obviously, Jackie Chan's cameos at the end of every episode.
Ah, yes. They did talk about much. I'm trying to, like, wonder, because, like, they're at the end of every episode, and there's a lot of episodes here. How, like, deep into something do they get?
I forget.
It's basically just somebody asking him a question about his past or his movies or his kung fu, and he answers it. It's like a minute.
I can't remember if that, like, they stopped doing that after a while, or whether it's in every single episode.
Well, let me see. So, he was in the live action segments from 2000 to 2005.
Okay, it was everything.
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in at least every single episode as himself.
All right.
And then there was the 2017 all-new Jackie Chan Adventures.
Wait,
I don't
what?
remember that!
I don't remember that. What do you mean? What?
Oh.
It's like, I'm looking under his filmography. It's television scripted series, and the year is 2017.
And
he was also executive producer on that.
Well, he would be. He's Jackie Chan.
Well, now I want to look up all new Jackie Chan Adventures.
I know it has a cult following, the show, so people liked it growing up.
It couldn't have run long.
No, I don't think. It only says 2017. I don't think it went past that.
Oh, it's a CG.
Ew.
No.
Big dislike. Oh, it's on IMDb.
Ew.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I like that.
And he is a live action person, and they are all CG. Okay.
It feels like it's skewed towards a much younger audience.
So they only have one episode.
Okay, so it was a pilot that didn't get picked up. Never mind. I think we're good.
I think so.
Well, even though that one wasn't good, this one certainly was good, and it was well liked by the people enough to get enough seasons and still be remembered to today, I hope. And if this is the first time you're hearing about this, you better go and watch it, because I'm a full yay on this one. It's got everything. It's got kung fu, it's got comedy, it's got magic, it's got demons and dragons and all sorts of, like, what more do you want? It's basically anime.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd give it a yay. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I would also give this a yay. This was like the show that I watched before I watched Shaolin Showdown, so I would say it's like, oh, I went from this to that one, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, so this is why I generally went to those shows.
Yeah, I'm as someone who didn't grow up watching the show and watching it for the first time as an adult, I was fairly entertained with it. I could see why it has the following that it has, and yeah, I would give it a yay.
I'm really glad you gave that yay, Envy, because I'm realizing now this is the first time in a couple of weeks where we've had an episode 1 that actually explains why everything's happening. Aren't you happy?
I must have struck a nerve with, or not struck a nerve. I must have. I know. I must have struck like the oil drum with my criticism of Martin Mystery, because like literally we had like 3 to 4 shows in a row where they didn't set up the plots in episode 1.
So I think this is how it is. Was an American cartoon, and those were not.
There you go. We're American. We need to know why things are happening. And I'll tell you what, the next 2 shows we're going to be watching for the last 2 spots of the year are both American shows, and I will tell you right now, they will have origin stories in their first episode. So don't you worry about that. The first one we're going to be watching is going to be, it's a personal favorite of mine. I've been looking forward to it. I've been wanting to force you people to watch this for so long, and now you're gonna. We're watching Megasex LR. I'm probably going to go back and watch the entire fucking show, but you guys only have to watch 3 episodes. Unless you get really into it, feel free to watch more. But come back next time and we'll talk about that. We'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and ring the bell icon for notifications. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like, and if you haven't already, check out some of our previous episodes, our daily gaming videos, or our parody series, Madoka Magically Abridged. See you next time!